This is WVVA in Focus, a weekly program about important issues and events in the two Virginias.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this edition of In Focus. This morning, we are featuring Mr. Sparky of Southern West Virginia. You probably recognize this dynamic duo, Kristen and Lee Lewis, here with Mr. Sparky of Southern West Virginia. It's great to have you folks on set, as always.
Oh, thanks for having us. We love being here. It's starting to feel like home.
I know, right? Yes. It feels like you're in our living room. So, you all have brought an award, which is right here on our coffee table. So let's talk about this award and the background of how you received it.
So we were so blessed to receive this Personal Achievement Award from Mister Sparky, the franchise, in April when we went out to our conference. It was a big get-together and very, very humbling to be sitting in a room of a lot of really, really successful Mister Sparky locations, and I think we were the last award to be called out. I think there were 3 others before us, and totally not expecting it. And then the brand president, Dan Mock, actually he was very emotional when he gave us this award, and it was very humbling. It was a very emotional moment for us, and we just so blessed. I still can barely talk about it without getting choked up.
Oh, and like you both said, like it was unexpected. So what was going through your mind when you found out that you had won this award and you were in Phoenix? What a big deal.
It was, yeah, he started describing, he started going through the whole backstory of, you know, our population size in this area, and at that point, we didn't know. We didn't know that we had received this award.
No, I'm sitting here listening to him like explain the winners, and I was like, gosh, these people are rock stars.
Yeah.
And then he starts explaining the location of this Mr. Sparky, and it sounded so much like ours. And I was like, did we actually win something? Because I mean, we're not even a year in this.
Yeah.
And then he said, you guys know who you are, and we looked at each other and like, do we know who we are?
Is it us? Like,
do we really know?
It sounds like it's us, but is it us?
Yeah, but it was, I mean, it was so, you know, it's so hard when you open a business, and there are challenges, and you just, you know, you work so hard in it, you're fighting the good fight, and sometimes you kind of lose sight of the big picture. And I think part of what he was conveying in his speech, and the reason that he kind of became emotional was because he portrayed it, that it was so inspiring, because we do have such a small hometown, Rock, West Virginia. You know, median income probably a whole lot lower than a lot of the other larger areas, and there, you know, were a lot of things maybe going against us when we started, but you know, that we still hit these huge goals and milestones and things that they didn't expect. So,
what was the criteria to win this award?
So this particular award, they gave out 4 personal achievement awards among over 100 Sparky locations, and they were specifically selected franchisees based on different criteria. This particular award was for rapid growth, success, leadership among our team, I think, and just reaching goals early on. You know, we reached a lot of goals that we didn't even project to reach for 2 years, and it just, you know, it came, and it's all because of, number one, our team. We have been so blessed with everybody, all of our employees. They have built this. We could never have done this with just us, and they're committed to the mission, and our mission is to support our community and to give them a resource to teach them about safety and to provide solutions for, you know, safety concerns that we would see in customers' houses. And our technicians come in and they're just so on board with that. They love the community as much as we do, and you know, the community has supported us. Even we're 10 months in at this point. Wow. We opened July 12th in 2022. but we already have a whole list of repeat customers.
Yeah.
That's great.
People that, have called us back, and it's just, that is the best feeling ever. Or to get, a review on Facebook or on Google, or a handwritten thank you card just to say thank you, I didn't even realize that this was an issue, or I can sleep better at night. And so it's just been the support of our employees and the community, and it has been a wonderful journey.
How many employees do you have?
So we are up to 9 now. We'll have 10 here in the next month or so. Rapidly growing.
That's fantastic.
We started with ourselves and 2 electricians, and now we're up to 8 electricians.
Right.
And more people, actually. It's been a wonderful experience. One of my goals coming into this, my background is in healthcare. So I was a nurse before we opened Mister Sparky, and one of my main goals was to provide a good workplace where we could compensate our employees very well and offer benefits and a positive culture for them and for their families. And so it's been really rewarding. We've actually, one of the major issues I think that not just Mister Sparky's, but a lot of companies have across the country right now is issues finding people to hire.
That's right, and good employees.
Good employees. Well, we just made a job posting a couple of weeks ago, and wouldn't you know, the phone just starts ringing off the hook, and we have people, stopping by the shop wanting to come work for us. And to me, that is one of the most rewarding things, on top of being able to help these customers, that people want to work here.
Yeah.
That's a lovely feeling, because that means that, maybe we might be doing something right.
In the construction field and in the trade industry in general, if you've been out there, if you're one of the guys or females that's been out there, it's tough. It is rude, it is crude, it's tough work. And for an employee to have a place that they come, they feel safe, they feel wanted, they feel respected, they feel like, they're earning a really good wage, because we pay really well. When you offer that to an employee, they want you. We want them, they want us, because that was our main goal in this business, aside from, leaving a customer's home safer than we found it, is to treat our employees well. And I feel like we've done that, and I think that's a huge part of why we've had the success we've had thus far.
I've said from the get-go, that has our names on it, mine and Lee's names on it, because obviously we're the owners of the franchise, but I want to take a Sharpie and scribble our names out and write all of our employees' names on there, because they have been committed from day one. They've made a lot of sacrifices. They've worked a lot of really long hours. And they've done it. They have been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, that says a lot about the morale of your company, though, too, right? If the pay is good and the culture is good there, then people don't want to leave. There's less turnover, and that really helps.
That was so important to me, coming from healthcare. I know what it's like to have a stressful job and to have to work a lot of hours, and to maybe sometimes feel, underpaid or underappreciated. And it was so important to me. I've been married to a tradesman for a long time. So not only did I experience that in my career, but I saw some instances and things that he had experienced too. And our guys, they're elite electricians, and we hold them to a really, really high standard. We have a really high level of professionalism in what we do, and we take our jobs very seriously. And so because of all those things, we want to make sure, they're all drug screened and background checked. There's no nonsense. And, they all have to wear the uniform a certain way, and they have to present themselves a certain way in front of the customers. And, we have all these long list of expectations, but in return, we want to make sure that you understand that you're going to be very nicely compensated, full benefits, and we're going to love on you a little bit. We have a running joke in the shop that I'm everybody's mom, because I keep the refrigerator stocked with all the drinks, everybody's drinks, and all the snacks, so they can, just kind of stock up. And I do those things, and I don't say that to say, well, I'm awesome, and it's not that at all. I do that because it's just the tiniest little thing that I can do to say, you work really hard, and you're awesome, and you're the bomb, and this is just a little tiny thing that we can do to show you that we appreciate you, and we couldn't do it without you.
Right, and that little gratitude can go a long way in any job.
Yeah, it's funny what a Red Bull could get you.
Oh yeah, around here it's like coffee. If anyone knows how to make coffee at WVVA, you're my best friend. So, well, we have much more to talk about, including I want to know how the franchise got started and everything too. So we'll talk about that after this break. Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to this edition of In Focus. This morning, we're talking all about Mr. Sparky of Southern West Virginia, one of my favorite couples here in the studio, Kristen and Lee Lewis. I really want to know how you all got started with this franchise, and it's unusual also that a couple gets into a business together. So let's hear that story.
We're both still alive, too.
Yeah.
You haven't hurt each other. There hasn't been any bodily harm. So, Lee, you want to tell about how they reached out to you?
Yeah, so I've, like most professional people in the business world, had a LinkedIn, and I've just put my experience on there, past experience where I taught and as a tradesman. And just one random day, I get this message from Mister Sparky Corporate, and they were just reaching out, I guess, looking for someone to open another franchise, and they specifically wanted to target West Virginia. So I started talking to him back and forth, and at first I was not so sure about it, and because I really care about, you know, everyone's opinion in the area, and I didn't want someone to think, oh, this is a franchise and blah, blah, whatever. But so I started vetting the system, didn't tell her anything about it for about 2 months, which is unusual.
You didn't know a thing, Kristen.
No,
wow.
Which is unusual for me because we talk about everything. And so I started vetting the system, make sure it was good, and it was phenomenal. It was the best decision we've ever made. And I went to visit her one day at work. She was having a bad day, and so I went to visit her at the mall. She was working there at her office, and she was having a bad day. So I said, well, let me just tell you a little bit about what I've been doing. And then it just started from there. And finally, we just had the discussions, and she quit her job full-time, and she started in the office full-time, and it just exploded from there.
Well, Kristen, that also takes a leap of faith, though, to leave your comfort zone, what you were doing in healthcare, to jump into the franchise with Lee. So what was that like to transition over to that?
Goodness, it was terrifying, very terrifying. Being a nurse is all I've ever known. It's my career. I did the local vocational school as soon as I got out of high school, so I guess I've been a nurse for about 11 years, 12 years. And like, I just, you know, I felt comfortable there. That was my little safe spot. And I had a job I really, really loved. I loved the people. I had been with the company for a long time. And I just kind of felt like that was my calling. And we, for some personal reasons, I had stepped back a little bit and started working a little less. We had a little bitty one at home. And when he started talking about this, you know, he's not a lone wolf, but he's just very independent, and he does his thing and I do mine. It's always kind of been like that. And so when he said, I think I really want to do this, he said, but I think I want you to do it with me.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about electrical stuff.
Right, where to start?
Crazy. And so he said, hop on these calls with me, talk to this team, see what you think. And I just became so intrigued, and all of a sudden I sort of felt compelled almost, and I felt, you know, this need in the area because Lee has done electrical work for a long time, and I felt like, wow, you know, this Mister Sparky model is just red carpet service, white glove, customer service, all the way, you know, to the nines. That's the way I liked to nurse. That's how I liked to do things, and I felt like, wow, this is something maybe we could do together, and I could transfer my love for people and my passion for doing things, you know, to the best of your ability and helping people to this business.
Yeah.
And I might get to do it with my husband.
Yeah.
And then I think the idea of also having some freedom with our kids, because I was, I did have the little one at home, so I had stepped back a little bit, was a really nice thought. And it was sad at first. I just kind of cut back from work a little bit more. And I felt sort of torn, and then I felt this sadness, like I had lost a little something. And then as soon as everything hit full throttle, I have felt so fulfilled through this whole process. I have found parts of myself that I didn't know existed. I have a new sense of self-assurance. And just being able to provide, this service to the community and to be there for our employees and just to build this sustainable resource for our employees and their families, for our family, and for the community, and to be able to do that together. And it's a really neat feeling to be able to do that with your spouse.
Well, and you all mentioned the red carpet treatment. I like that. I think, I used to sell BMW. Some of you may not know that, but BMW had the mindset the customer is first, and you treat them so well, and they'll come back to you. You get repeat customers. And I feel like the same would be true for you all, right? So let's talk about that treatment of the customer and the repeat customers you've been seeing just in the past 10 months.
Yeah. Well, in the construction industry, like when they call you out to their house to fix something, the automatic expected thing that they truly expect is, oh, there's going to be a mess left in my house. That's the first thing. We are so picky in customers' houses that, we literally roll out the red carpet. We put down the Mister Sparky mat when we walk in the door, that we wipe our feet on that. We wear shoe protectors when we go into the customer's home, so we make sure that we protect everything, their flooring. We put down coverings if we're going to be drilling anywhere. And then our motto is, our goal is to leave the customer's house cleaner than we found it. And when customers see that, like, speak no further. They're like, I expected a huge mess, and now they're like, I want you back from now on. So it's very rewarding when we get those calls from customers and they just want that specific technician. They say, hey, is Muhammad, I want him back, or is Zach, or is Rory, or who, all of our guys, they all have received those phone calls where that customer only wants them, and they want them because they took such good care of their house.
And I think too, we constantly teach and train. That's at the forefront of what we do. That's Lee's background. So he was in education for years, and we do something in the classroom several times a week. And it's very important to us that not only that our guys, and I say guys, we have a female electrician as well, and she is phenomenal. So I don't say guys to exclude her. She's used to being called guys, but it's very important to us that not only are their technical skills, superb, but also, their communication skills and being able to understand what the customer wants and being able to, communicate and provide excellent customer service. It's so important in every aspect. Communication is key. We all want to communicate well, right?
Yeah.
So that's a huge part of what we do. But one of the most rewarding reviews I think that we have gotten from a lot of customers is the female tech that we were speaking of. She's just a rock star, and she's so cute and funny anyway. But she goes into a customer's house, and I can't tell you how many customers have called me back and said, she came in and she not only listened to what we wanted to have done, but she thought ahead, and she thought of projects that we mentioned we may want to do in the future, or things that we were doing in the future, and she planned this whole job around things that we didn't even know we may need later on down the road. And she really listened, and she built this whole project, based on things, like one of the examples I can think of was a customer that wanted to install a ceiling fan, and it was close to bunk beds for their kids. And she just kind of said, I don't mind to put the ceiling fan here if that's what you want to do, but I don't know about your kids, but mine would be in that off this top bunk. So they kind of worked together and moved it. And it's just, I know what level of customer service we are committed to, but knowing that our guys, every single time they go in the house, they're committed to that too. And we offer a 100% money-back guarantee, 100% satisfaction guarantee. If we didn't leave your home the way that we said we were going to leave it, if we didn't do the job, you know, the way that we said we were going to do it.
If we're not on time.
If we're not on time, if our technician does not behave appropriately, if he's not dressed appropriately, you get your money back. So it's so important to us that everybody is on their A game all the time, and it's just so apparent to us based on customer feedback that that's what these guys are doing.
I'm glad you mentioned that as well, because we have to take one more quick break, but I do want to talk about the services that Mr. Sparky offers. I'm sure some of our viewers at home would love to hear about that, so we'll talk about that right after this break. We'll be right back. Good morning once again, everyone. Welcome back to this edition of In Focus. So let's get right to it. Kristen and Lee, let's talk about the services that Mr. Sparky offers.
So Mr. Sparky is the #1 rated residential electrical company in the United States. We are one of about 100 locations all across the United States. And we offer all type of residential electrical services. We do some light commercial stuff, very little, but all large and small residential electrical projects, everything from pool heaters to changing out lights and receptacles, installing new lights and receptacles, upgrading panel boxes, outdoor services, ceiling fans.
Pretty much everything inside the home and outside the home we handle.
I know we did an Mister Sparky Spotlight recently on replacing old panels. What are some of the more common calls that you're hearing from customers lately?
You know, this has been our trend, I believe, since we opened. Most of our calls are something is not working.
Yeah.
Partial power in the home is a whole lot, you know, of what we get. Receptacles aren't working, switches aren't working, and what are some of the
Well,
common...
it's really seasonal, so it depends on the type of, what time of the year it is. But coming out of winter, we were seeing a lot of calls of where people had space heaters plugged in and the outlets are not wired correctly where they make proper connections, so it would mess up an outlet and it would cause everything, kind of like Christmas lights. If one goes out, they all go out. Similar in outlets, we would get a lot of those calls. And then a lot of just main power issues where it's the main panel box or meter outside corroded or whatever. And then we go out and we address the situation and take care of it on spot.
Yeah, a lot of what we have seen is, you know, electrical equipment, it does have a lifespan, kind of like your appliances in your house. You know, you have those old Kelvinator refrigerators, those things can run forever. And so electrical equipment's kind of the same. Just because it can doesn't mean it needs to.
Right.
But a lot of those calls that we get that, hey, you know, whatever isn't working, we see either older or outdated equipment that has just lived its life, or you know, other older wiring techniques and installation techniques that were used years ago, and now there's new and better ways to do things, and sometimes those older techniques for certain things can cause issues down the road, and mainly things like that. You know, you get in, and we have a running joke around the office, it's never just a receptacle, because, you know, you have customers, we just have this one receptacle we need replaced. It's never just one receptacle.
There's more.
Yeah.
If someone wanted to get in touch with you, what's the best way to do that?
Best way is just to call our office, 304-355-5200. We do take calls 24 hours a day. We have an answering service after hours, but as soon as a call comes in, they contact me immediately. I will be the one calling back. We stay on top of that, but we also have Facebook. We have a website where you can schedule appointments online, tons of ways to get in touch with us.
We have a little bit of time before we go, about 2 minutes. If someone out there is watching and they were interested in becoming an electrician, Lee, how would they go about doing that? And what's the pay range when someone does become an electrician?
Well, so I can't speak for other employers, but for us, our employees are paid top wages. The average Mister Sparky electrician is north of $100,000 a year. It's very, very good money, especially in this area.
Yeah.
To become an electrician, there's a couple different ways. I'm going to speak on behalf of where I spent a large majority of my career, which is at the Technical Center here in Princeton. Mercer County Technical Education Center is a gym. It is truly just an awesome place. There's an electrical program there where you can become an electrician in 1 year. You graduate and you're entry level, ready to hit the ground running. So you can do it that way, or there's apprenticeships out there. You can join with us. We have a formal apprenticeship program as well, to where if you are just green out of high school, you can join us and become an electrician that way.
Well, that's definitely something to think about, right, is going to a trade school, because that's excellent money.
Oh, yeah.
$100,000 for your company, that's really good.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah, it's, you know, he uses this all the time, and we're a big proponent of trade schools and promoting the trades. And he tells our guys, and he has told students for years, he got an electrical license straight out of high school, and he's gone on, he's almost nearly finished his doctorate degree, and he tells students and our employees all the time that electrical license has earned him more money than that doctorate degree ever will.
Yep.
So
That's true.
And you can have a really nice life and support your family with just going to trade school.
Well, I really appreciate both of you sharing more information about how you function as a couple running your franchise as well. And congratulations again on your award.
Thank you so much.
All right, well, that does it for this edition of In Focus, but be sure to tune in. You'll see Mr. Sparky Spotlights here on WVVA News at 5. We hope you have a great day. We'll see you all next week.